let's take a look at how ransomware relates to your SQL Server. Now, if you've ever had ransomware, and I know Derek said sends chills up your spine, this is one of those things that sends chills up my spine. The situations where we've been called by people with ransomware needing help, those are some of the most unlikely to recover scenarios. So a couple of differences here that we'll take a look at between corruption and ransomware. With corruption, it's usually something that we can fix, or at least recover part of it, if not all of the data. And the goal is usually restoring all the data. But with corruption, parts of the data file may be destroyed, but they're not completely gone. There's something there that's incorrect that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, and I think I'll add on to that before we cover ransomware is, even if it's not completely recoverable, you could usually get it fixed enough and be able to tell the client what is missing or what might be missing, but it's still
Yep.
The rest of it's still working. With ransomware, typically the entire file is encrypted. A lot of the times we've seen even paying the ransom doesn't help. We've been called by clients that pay the ransom, and even after running the unencryption, it's still the file is still so corrupt. It's like the RAID 50 scenario where there is no repairing it.
Yep.
I'd say this is one of the toughest things that Steve and I see, because we never wish corruption on anybody, but corruption that we could at least do something about and help them. And a lot of times with ransomware, there's nothing that we can do to help
Yep.
the customer.
Absolutely. Now, with corruption, we can help with the repair. And although backups are great, because with backups, you've got a view of what things look like before the corruption hit. But oftentimes with corruption, we can do the repair even if you don't have backups. Now, that's not an excuse to not have backups, because there's no excuse for that. But with ransomware, your backups may be your only option.
Yeah, and I just can't reiterate that enough. Is we've talked to multiple people who their only option was to pay, and they paid, and they got other files back, but their large databases were corrupt beyond repair.
Yep. And we've seen this where they were running their SQL backups on the same drive, the same like D drive on their SQL server, the same drive as their data files were on, which is of course a really, really bad idea. And you would expect that those would be corrupt when you got hit with ransomware. But even those that were doing backups to a network location that was off of that machine, the ransomware is smart enough to go through and go and encrypt all of those backups. Of course, it can't encrypt the SQL Server files while it's running. So what it does is it shuts down the SQL Server and reboots it and then encrypts it as it comes back online. So ransomware, yeah, that's way different than corruption. And really the only safe way is to have offsite backups to recover from that are in some kind of cold storage where they can't be changed by ransomware.